Okay, good day everyone. So my video is all about ion formation. So kung paano nga ba natin gagawin at ma-identify yung iba't ibang klase ng ion formation. So why? Because we all know for the fact that ang electrons are found outside the nucleus. At alam natin na kapag ang nucleus or sabihin natin ang electrons ay nasa labas at meron silang orbit. So that's the time where the electrons are capable of sharing or even sabihin natin they're sharing, they're also capable of losing electrons. Okay, so let us try to find out. Okay, so as you can see on my slide, so the charges species are actually called as ions. So if you can see here, I have two elements. We have sodium, which is ang atomic number niya ay 11. And at the same time, for chlorine, we have atomic number of 17. We all know for the fact that if a certain element has an atomic number, therefore, kung ano ang atomic number niya, yun din yung number ng protons niya at yun din yung number ng electrons niya. So therefore, si sodium, kung meron siyang atomic number na 11, so therefore, ang number ng protons niya is 11 at ang kanyang electrons are also 11. The same thing with chlorine. If you have an atomic number of 17, then therefore, meron siyang 17 protons at meron din siyang 17 electrons. However, if this happens, wherein there is what we call ions, wherein it is actually a charged atoms or molecule, wherein it is charged because the number of electrons do not equal the number of protons in atom or molecules. Okay, so as you can see here, we have two types of atoms. So meron tayong dalawa. You would see that we have positively charged ions. So we call it as cations. However, those negative ions is what we call anions. Okay, so dito natin makikita sa mga examples natin bakit nagkakaroon ng mga negative and positive ions. At yun ang pag-uusapan natin for today. Okay, so as I move on, okay, so there are different rules na kailangan nating tandaan. Okay. So, sabi natin, according to Selianco, so that's one of the famous authors in chemistry. So, he actually shared that there's one concept wherein the concept of losing electrons. So, sabi, paano nagkakaroon ng losing electrons? Wherein, if you actually lose electrons, you're actually making the element or the species itself to become positively charged. Ibig sabihin, mas less yung electrons niya as compared mo dun sa protons. At kailan lang nangyayari kapag nagkakaroon ng losing electrons? Nangyayari lamang po iyon kung yung mga elements natin belongs to metal groups, yung mga alkali metals na tinatawag yung mga alkali earth metals. So, sila yung may capability, ito yung mga elements na may capability to lose electrons. So, I'm going to give you three set of examples which actually fall under the examples of metal. So, let's have yung tinatawag nating sodium. Okay, so we have sodium, we have an atomic number of 11, and then magnesium we have 12, and we have aluminum for 13 as their atomic number. Okay, so let's have the basic concept. So karamihan sa mga metals natin, they actually lose electrons to match the number of valence electrons of their nearest noble gas o yung tinatawag nating octet rule. Kasi sabi natin, if you're going to recall, ang octet rule natin kasi these are set of elements that are already stable. So, ibig sabihin, yung mga octet, by the word itself, octet, ibig sabihin 8. Ibig sabihin, kapag ang isang element ay meron siyang 8 na valence, ibig sabihin, yung element na yon ay masasabi nating stable. So, they don't need to lose electrons or they don't need to share or gain electrons kasi sa element pa lang na yun, they're already stable because they have already 8 electrons as their valence. So they're already considered as stable. So hindi nila kailangang mag-lose, no? O hindi nila kailangang mag-gain pa ng electrons kasi stable na sila. So on the case of the metals, kailangan nilang mag-lose ng kanilang mga electrons. So if they lose electrons, you're just making the element positively charged. No? So positive ions form when the number of electrons are less than the number of protons. So let us try to solve the following elements, no, that I have given you as an example. So let's start with the sodium. Okay, so let's have the sodium. So paano natin siya isosolve? So sabi natin, as an example, we have sodium, no? So if we're going to look at the electron configuration of sodium, since it is 11, so we have 1 S2, 2 S2, 2 P6, and then we have 3 S1. So therefore, the valence electron of sodium is equivalent to 1. So this is the valence electron of sodium. So we have 1 valence electron for sodium. Okay, so kung gagamitin natin yung electron dot structure, so meron tayong isang valence. Provided na ang sabi natin kanina, meron siyang 11 na protons at meron siyang 11 na electrons as a normal element, no? So yun. However, since we are forming an ion, so sabi nga natin, these are said to be metal, so they tend to lose electrons. So since meron siyang isang valence electron, so ang tatandaan lang po natin dito is kung ilan yung valence niya, yun ang babawas natin sa kanya kasi it tends to lose. Tatandaan natin na kapag metals, nagbabawas tayo. So we need to subtract 1 electron. Okay, so to make an equation here, okay, so paano natin gagawin yan? So ulitin lang po natin kung ano yung ginawa natin na number of protons kanina at yung number ng electrons niya. Sabi nga natin kanina, saan lang tayo magbabawas? Sa electron. Kasi siya lang po ang may capability to lose or gain electrons since it is found outside the nucleus. Okay, so dito lang po tayo magbabawas. Okay, so since sabi natin kanina, since meron siyang valence na isa, so kailangan natin siyang bawasan ng isang electrons. Okay, kailan lang po tayo nagbabawas? Nagbabawas lang po tayo kapag ang element na tinutukoy po natin ay kabilang sa metal groups. At yun po ay yung mga tinatawag nating groups 1, 2, and 3. So commonly sila lang po yung pwede nating bawasan ng tinatawag nating electrons. So if we're going to subtract 11 minus 1, then this will give us 10 electrons. Okay, so if we're going to compare the number of electrons to its proton, ibig sabihin, mas marami pa rin po ang protons natin as compare mo sa electrons natin. So ibig sabihin, kung marami ang ating protons, then you're just making sodium positively charged. Okay, positively charged by 1. Kasi 11 and 10. So, ilan ang mas mataas? Yung proton. So, ilan ang itinaas niya? Isa. Okay, so this is the answer. So, we have sodium positive 1. We are able to form 1 positive ions under ng sodium because of its valence. So you're just making the sodium positively charged kasi nag-lose siya ng electrons kasi kabilang siya sa mga metal groups na tinutukoy natin. Okay, so I'm going to give you another example. So, ang another example natin kanina is yung magnesium. Okay, so ang ating magnesium is actually equivalent to 12. Okay, so let's have first the electron configuration. So to get the valence, so we have 1 S2, we have 2 S2, we have 2 P6, Okay? And then we have 3s2. Since we have a valence of 2, so therefore, magnesium has a valence of 2, represented by the electron dot or the Lewis dot structure. Okay, so just going to note here that we have 2 electrons as valence. Okay. Okay, so sabi natin, ulitin natin since it is 12, so we have 12 protons and we have 12 electrons. Okay, so since meron tayong dalawang valence electrons at siya ay kabilang sa metal, so magbabawas tayo ng dalawang electrons. Okay, so therefore, to make an equation, let us try to equate again 12 protons and then 12 electrons. Again, sa electron lang po tayo magbabawas. Ilan ang babawasan natin? Dalawa. 2 electrons. So therefore, 12 minus 2 will give us 10 electrons. Okay, let us compare. So we have 10 electrons here and we have 12. So sino ang mas mataas? Definitely mas mataas ng dalawang may mas mataas na dalawang protons compare mo sa electrons ng magnesium. So therefore, magnesium will become positively charged. At ilan ang itataas niya? Definitely 2. Kasi mas mataas siya ng dalawa dito, which is 12, as compare mo sa 10 electrons. So that's the equation. That's how magnesium form its ion. Okay, another example. Okay, let's have aluminum. Okay, aluminum has an atomic number of 13. So let's get first the electron configuration. So we have 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, and then we have 3s2, and then 3p1. So therefore, this will be the valence electron of aluminum, which is 3. This is the valence. So meron tayong tatlong valence electron. So we have aluminum, we have 1, 2, and then we have 3. Okay, so let us again have the atomic number. We have 13. So, kung ano ang atomic number niya, yun din ang number ng protons niya. So, kung 13 ang aluminum natin, so meron siyang 13 na proton at meron din siyang 13 na electrons. Okay, so we're just going to equate it. So, as a neutral element, so ganyan ang kanyang mga content ng protons and electrons. However, since we're forming an ion, at sabi ko nga ang aluminum ay kabilang sa mga metal elements, so we need to subtract or lose 3 electrons since ang valence niya ay 3. So kopyahin lang po natin ilan uli ang kanyang protons. We have 13 and then we have 13 electrons. So magbabawas lamang po tayo sa electrons. So therefore, we're going to lose 3 electrons here. So 13 minus 3 will give us 10 electrons. So let us compare the number of electrons. Okay, as compare with the protons, so makikita natin na mas mataas o mas lamang ng 3 protons ang aluminum, no? Sa protons niya as compare mo sa number ng electrons ng aluminum. So therefore, on this manner, you're just making the element positively charged. Kasi mas marami yung protons mo as compare mo sa electrons. So you're just making it positive. Ng ilan? Tatlo. Bakit po naging tatlo? Kasi mas lamang ng tatlong protons ito as compare mo sa electron. So this is how we equate uh, ions, no? So dito natin ginagawa kung paano nagkakaroon ng formation ng ions ang isang element, specifically if it is belonging to metal groups na tinatawag. Okay? So how about if the case will be like this? Okay, how about if we are about to gain electrons? So paano naman nag-gain ng electrons ang isang element? So this only happens when the concept is like this. If you're gaining electrons, meaning the species or the element itself becomes negatively charged, meaning it is more electrons than the proton. So kailan lang nangyayari na nag-gain ng electrons? Nangyayari lamang po ito if the elements belong to non-metal. So, ibig sabihin, kapag ang element po ay kabilang sa mga non-metals like non-metals that belong to groups 5, 6, 7. So, yan. So, ibig sabihin, yan po yung mga set ng elements natin na kung saan ikinukonsider natin yung mga elements na yon are said to be non-metal. So I have 3 basic examples here that we're going to solve later. So we have oxygen, we have fluorine, and we have chlorine. So sabi daw, this would be the rule. In ionic compound, non-metals, no, in 5, 6, 7 group, we're talking about 5, 6, 7, no? So ito yung mga kabilang doon sa mga groups ng 5, 6, 7, o ito yung may mga valence ng 5, 6, 7 valence, no? So non-metals in 5, 6, 7 gains electron from metal. So ibig sabihin, yung mga elements po na kabilang sa groups 5, 6, and 7, or they have valence of 5, 6, and 7, no? So these are elements that are capable of gaining electrons. So kapag nag-gain sila, ibig sabihin, mas negatively charged sila kasi mas marami silang nakuhang electrons, specifically from metals. Okay, so, however, sabi, non-metals add electrons to achieve the octet arrangement. Kasi ang target kasi natin dito is to stabilize the the element itself. No? Kasi paano mo masasabing stabilize siya kung siya po ay may 8 na electrons na masasabi nating naka-stable siya as part of the octet rule. So non-metal ionic charge would be 3 negative, 2 negative, and of course 1 negative. Okay, so yun yung negatively charged po tayo. So let us try to solve the following. Okay, so let's start with electron configuration would be 1s2, 2s2, and then we have 2p5. Okay, so therefore, ang kanyang valence electron is 7. 7 valence electrons. Okay, let us represent fluorine into electron dot. No? O hindi na tawag natin Lewis dot structure. So we have 1, we have 2, we have 3, we have 4, we have 5, we have 6, and we have 7. So, to complete the octet rule, so ilan ang kailangan ng fluorine para mag-stabilize siya? So, para mag-stabilize, kailangan natin ng 8. So, ilan ang kulang? O ilan ang idadagdag natin sa kanya? So, therefore, magdadagdag tayo ng isang electron. Kasi pag nagdagdag tayo, definitely mag-i-stabilize na siya. So let us try to recall again. So we have 9 protons and we have 9 electrons. Let us try to copy this equation on the other side. So we have 9 protons and we have 9 electrons. Okay, so magdadagdag tayo ng isang electron, making fluorine 10, no? In terms of its electron, no? In terms of its number of electrons. So, mas marami ang kanyang electron compare mo sa kanyang proton. So, mas mataas ng isang electron ang tinatawag nating fluorine. Okay? Okay. So again, okay. So we have here, so since mas mataas ang um, electron natin dito, no? So therefore, you're just making fluorine negatively charged by 1. Okay. So I just would like to correct earlier yung aking example pala kanina. No? I just would like to correct it again. Okay. Okay. So sabi natin kanina, I'll just go to correct this one. Ilagay ko yata is positive 2. Okay. So as I have said kanina, so we have 6 valence electrons for oxygen. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so ilan ang kulang? Ilan ang dadagdag natin sa oxygen to make it stable? So kailangan natin siyang dagdagan ng 2 electron dahil nga para mag-stabilize siya, kailangan natin siya maging 8. Okay, so kung meron siyang 8 protons at meron siyang 8 electrons. Okay, so equate lang po natin siya ulit. So 8 protons, 8 electrons. Okay? So sabi natin, magdadagdag tayo ng 2 rito. So we have 2 electrons here, making it 10 electrons. So mas marami ang electrons ng oxygen compare mo dun sa number ng protons niya na kung saan 8 lang. Okay? So therefore, on its ion formation, you're just making oxygen negatively charged by 2. Okay, so this would be the answer. So I just would like to correct the equation earlier, no? Okay, so let's have the last one. Okay, so the last one we have chlorine. Okay, so let's have the electron configuration. So we have 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p5. Okay, so you're just making it 7 valence electrons. Okay, so again, ang chlorine natin ay 7. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So ilan ang kailangan nating idagdag sa chlorine para maging 8? So kung may 7 na siya, kailangan nating magdagdag ng isang electron. Ulitin natin, meron tayong 17 na atomic number. So we have 17 protons and we have 17 electrons here. Okay, to make it a negation, so we have 17 protons and we have 17 electrons. So magdadagdag tayo ng isang electron dito, which will make it 18 electrons. So mas marami ang electrons compare mo sa proton. So therefore, if this is the case, mas marami electrons, so you're just making chlorine negatively charged by 1. So this is the equation. So kailangan lang natin tandaan dito na kapag tayo po ay nagtitingin ng formation ng ions ng isang elements, you just have to remember kung yung element ba yun, na yun ay kabilang sa metal at non-metal. So ang lagi nyo lang tatandaan na kapag tinutukoy natin ay metal, we have to lose electrons. So ibig sabihin, pag nag-lose tayo ng electrons, mas marami yung number ng proton. So you're just making the element positively charged. Now, if the element belongs to non-metals, ibig sabihin lang po, we need to gain electrons. So kapag tayo ay nag-gain, you're just making the element negatively charged. Kasi since nag-gain siya ng electrons, you're just making the element negatively charged. At nangyayari lamang po ito pag ito ay non-metal. So I hope that you were able to learn something from the concept that I have presented to you about ion formation. Okay?